Hey everyone, welcome back. Our next guest is a Latinx Creative Capital Zurich grant winning cartoonist and writer for mainstream and independent comic books. He was the second Latino and Puerto Rican to work for Marvel and DC Comics. His work gives greater representation to racial and sexual diversity, focusing on creating complex stories featuring underrepresented and culturally diverse heroes as they navigate real life issues that plague our global communities. He joins us today to speak about his summer comic culture art programs, and he is no stranger to our show. Please welcome back cartoonist, writer, and educator Ivan Velez. Hello
Hey,
and welcome.
how you doing? How you doing, Rhina? Very nice to see you.
Likewise, likewise. It's so wonderful to have you on. I know I would prefer it to be in person, but these are the circumstances in which we are still navigating through. And
Right.
with that, I want to congratulate you on the way you've been servicing our community. In the past, we've had you on. Your programs have been geared primarily towards the youth, and you recently invited me to participate in one of your senior citizens workshops, and they're done virtually. But I find it really, really admirable that you've been able to expand on this level of being multi generational. So
Uh,
let's start there.
okay. Yeah, I've been doing the programs, and by the way, thank you for the kind words. They really loved you, by the way. They had a lot to say after you were gone. So
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I had to take that in because it was really a wonderful moment. And I love the
yeah.
way you welcomed me and the way they welcomed me. So thank you for saying that.
Right. Well, since COVID was such a terrible thing for all of us, and we had to go inside our own selves as well. I found that the Zoom programs were an outlet not only for me but for everybody else involved. And the seniors loved it. And we started, instead of teaching them the Sukasa programs, which is the grant that goes for senior programs throughout the Bronx,
Right?
throughout the city. So I've been doing that for about maybe 6 years. But actually, the Zoom programs were very, very nice because people felt comfortable in their own homes. They felt very free to share. The dialogue started becoming amazing, and they started teaching me because I am officially a senior right now as well, and they started teaching me all these things about what to expect and what to do and how life is, and it's been wonderful and rewarding thing. And they've been so creative, and they've been very receptive to all kinds of different art, which helps me kind of like find out what kind of arts do I know about and what kind of arts can I learn about along with them.
So
So.
yeah, no,
Okay.
no, it's beautiful, and thank you for breaking it down for us because we're gonna of course share with our audience all the different
Sure.
styles of work that you offer, right? As far as the art workshops, and because I know my daughter was studying manga with you, and the next generation has their preference, but I do want to, before we hop over to those other sectors, just mention the fact that what I found most intriguing about what I experienced in this senior workshop is the digitized that aspect of it, because they're not necessarily raised in that environment, and so we all kind of got forced into an environment where it was like fight or flight, right? So it's
Right,
almost
right,
like but they had to choose whether they wanted to expand in that area, and it
right.
looked, from what I saw, that they were like pretty crafty. I was like, whoa, I was
On it.
impressed.
They were great, and not only that, they just like again they started teaching me like what's available. How can I access people who are far away, especially people of an older age, and they use their cell phones if they can. If they can't connect with their iPads or if they have an iPad, they'll just use their cell phones. Some people have a portal, that Facebook portable thing that people buy. So there's so many different ways they've been teaching me how to connect and how to kind of maintain this kind of connection with them.
No,
It's
it
really
was
wonderful.
great. It was great. It was great. It was
Yeah.
great. And again, I'm only bringing it up because of the fact that the next generation, they're almost like born with microchips in their heads, whereas the seniors, there's a resistance, but
There
Right.
is a resistance.
Right. So it
Yeah.
was lovely. It was just really refreshing. Now let's just talk about all these amazing workshops that you have coming up in the summer that are going to be in person.
Yeah, I'm actually doing a bunch of programs for off of the Bronx Arts Fund grant, off of the Bronx Council of the Arts and the DCA and stuff like that. I'm at the Poe Park, Comic Culture at Poe Park, and we actually have Tuesdays at 12 o'clock. Okay, and the ages for them are from 8 to 15. We kind of put a lot of the teenagers in there as well. I'm also at the Bronx Library Center, like in next week, like
I
July. It starts July.
saw.
Yeah, and we start that on July 8th, July 11th, July 18th, July 25th, and we go all the way through August. And that's actually a really fun kind of like thing for me to do too. Because I've been connected with the Bronx Library Center. Oh my God, for maybe about 15 years when I first started doing programs for the libraries. I think that was one of my first sites.
I
So I was
know.
very
We're so
yeah.
blessed to have you, Ivan. Really.
Ah.
I
You
think
know, I'm even doing programs for adults as well at Poe Park on Saturdays, starting July 16th. Because, adults, people above 18, they need love too. And
right.
they're very creative and they love comics and they love all kinds of genre stuff. And it's a way to kind of engage. We talk about horror, we talk about the old school kung fu stuff, we have models to draw. And it's just like a fun way to kind of meet each other and kind of like, build community.
Right, exactly. Build community, socialize, and
Yeah.
also be able to express themselves because art is another form of therapy. And the fact that you're a craftsman, you're an expert in this certain genre that happens to be, the next generation is really hooked on this stuff, right? So
Yeah.
what I'm saying with what I've experienced with you, because I have the utmost admiration for you, your craftsmanship, your choice of bringing it back to community, your choice of making it accessible to everybody. And now you've expanded into the seniors on this whole other level of giving them digitized skill sets, right? And so it's kind of like you're moving in areas of like, okay, this is what this age bracket needs, this is what they're interested in, and it's really dope. I love it. I love it.
Thank you. And I even got my own mom to join the senior program as well because she's up in Michigan. She got nothing to do. She's 82 years old, and she really enjoys it. She perks up when she sees these people. So it's nice to kind of connect people from all over the world, which I do, which is kind of interesting.
I know, and so in essence, right? Even though it's virtual, you represent the Bronx, you represent multiple communities, but most importantly, you're like like almost like a social justice fighter in this way. It's a very fascinating dynamic, and you guys, I'm bringing it up because he's very conscious about the messaging that's being crafted and being taught. It's kind of like he's saying. Again, we opened up by saying, he's worked for Marvel, he's worked for DC, right? And you made a choice.
Right. And it was a tough road working for Marvel and DC. It wasn't the most how you call it, the most tolerant place. They really didn't see difference as a plus. Again, like in the '90s, I was like the first Latino to write a monthly title there, which is kind of late when you think about it. And that's when I was a kid. There were no characters of color. So that really does damage to us as all our communities that we don't see ourselves reflected in even like superheroes. Even the fairy tales back then. Remember all the fairy tales that all came from Europe?
Yeah.
So it became my mission, but almost by default, because if I didn't do that, if I didn't push through, what would that leave me? What would I leave like anybody of my generations, my nephews and nieces and all, why should they be missing heroes? Why should they be missing a chance to participate in creating these comics, which become part of our pop culture and kind of change society, via those.
I know.
We're heroes too. We're heroines. We're part of the story, and we should be there from the beginning. So that's part of the mission.
Oh my
To help.
gosh, I love it. I love it. Ivan, I'm so happy that you always find the time to bring it to our audience. Ivan, that's it. You're going down in my books as the empowering cartoonist, writer, educator, because that's what you're doing. You're empowering them all of them, every single one of them.
Well, they're empowering me.
There
They
you
really
go.
are.
Yeah, here's to reflecting empowerment on each other. How about that?
There you go.
All right.
And you're empowering me too. Thank you, Rhina.
Oh,
This is wonderful.
all right. Always our pleasure. I mean, our viewers and our Bronxites and abroad, they all need to know what's available to them. So thank you for bringing it here. Once again, everyone, Ivan Velez, cartoonist, writer, and educator. He's got a tremendous summer comic culture and comic prime programs that are taking place throughout the entire summer, and they're in different locations. We highly recommend that you visit planetbronx.com in order to get the calendar of events. There's way too many for us to name. And as he discussed, there are different age brackets. We've got ages 8 to 15, and we've got the adults, and then we've got the teeny boppers. But again, visit planetbronx, .com. All right, stay tuned because Bobby C's Weekly Sports Roundup is coming up next.